Hey, what's going on, Who That Nation? It is yours truly, Timothy J. Jones. And yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. I really do appreciate your time. Shouts out to everybody in the chat right now. Shouts out to everybody watching this episode. And it is powered by BETUS. BETUS, you can sign up, get up to 150% on your first deposit, up to 125% on your second and third deposit, up to $2,000. Use the promo code YouTube 150. That's YouTube 150. Well, Who That Nation, the moment a lot of you Who That Nation members have been waiting for, the New Orleans Saints officially announced that they have hired Philadelphia Eagles offensive coordinator Kellen Moore to be the 19th head coach in franchise history. So now we know who the Saints have as their head coach, and I think that you can sleep a little bit better. I know that a few episodes that we've had in the archives, Saints fans were extremely nervous about not hearing any news, especially on Monday, right after the Super Bowl. But as we can see, the New Orleans Saints were just, dotting the I's and crossing the T's and allowing Kellen Moore to kind of, process everything that transpired down in New Orleans, helping the Philadelphia Eagles bring home a Super Bowl championship. And now he turns his attention to a New Orleans Saints team with a lot of question marks, a lot of unanswered questions, and I'm excited to see what's going to take place. Kellen Moore is a guy, he's young, he's 36 years old. When he coaches this season in 2025, this upcoming season, he will be the youngest head coach in the NFL. And, this is something that Saints fans felt this is the direction that the Saints organization needed to go in. Getting a young coach, maybe a coach that can be able to relate to some of these younger players. So the New Orleans Saints did just that. And I'm interested to see how this thing is going to work out. No, Kellen Moore was not the Saints' first choice. It was not. It was not their first choice. But sometimes, the first choice might not be the best choice. We've seen in years past where teams had their heart set on a certain coach and then they end up going in a different direction. Like most recently is Dan Quinn. Ben Johnson was the guy that the Washington Commanders had their eye on, and they thought that he would be the head coach of the Commanders. But when he decided to go back to Detroit, they hired Dan Quinn, and then the rest is history. So, sometimes it might fall into your lap here, and if Kellen Moore can work this thing out, then I don't think any Saints fans will have any complaints about it. I'm not one of them Saints fans that's not going to be, give this guy an opportunity. Is going to give him a chance. I know that some people look at his personality. They look at some of the traits that he have, and they feel like maybe he's not head coaching material. I was watching a video with Skip Bayless, and Skip Bayless, who knows Kellen Moore from his time as offensive coordinator with the Dallas Cowboys. He felt like maybe he wasn't head coaching material, but only time will tell. I don't think that you have to be a rah-rah guy. I don't think that you need to be a guy that got to be turning over Gatorade buckets or yelling at the referees every call that they make. As long as you can go out there and understand the X's and O's and put your team in the best position to succeed, guys will follow you. Kellen Moore is a guy that has played in the National Football League, which to me, I feel like that will earn him some good credit with the players. Players that are coached by, guys that have been in the trenches, that have been in the foxhole with them. They have a tendency of following that guy because they're not speaking from a place where they don't have any experience. They actually know what they're talking about. Now, he wasn't the greatest quarterback that we ever seen, but he did play in a league, and at the age of his late 20s, he ended up like being a quarterbacks coach with the Dallas Cowboys, and then the following year he became an offensive coordinator. So he retired back in, I want to say, 2017, and got a quarterback's coaching job right away. That's unheard of. Normally guys have to climb the ranks. They got to start off as a assistant offensive line coach or assistant quarterbacks coach or something. But this guy started off right away on a trajectory to go to the top. And you have to give him even more credit because it was with the Dallas Cowboys, one of the most highly profiled teams in the National Football League. So for him to be able to retire and then hit the ground running as their quarterbacks coach and then the offensive coordinator, I think you have to give him some credit in that regard. He's a smart guy. We know that he knows offense. We've seen what he did in the Super Bowl. I'm not going to be one of those Saints fans that's like, well, look who he was doing it with. I mean, if we had the talent, and I'm talking about the Saints, if they had the talent that the Philadelphia Eagles had, then we wouldn't even be having this conversation right now. But you want to believe that, with the right guys, with the right personnel, he can be able to do something that is meaningful for the New Orleans Saints. Another thing, I'm not really trying to check for these Saints fans out here that if this guy doesn't give them instant gratification, they somewhere talking about the man need to be fired or they made the wrong decision. Look, man, we're all smart Saints fans here. We're all smart sports fans. We follow the NFL and we know how this thing works. If a guy goes into a situation and it's an uphill battle, and we know that it's an uphill battle, we don't expect for this guy to be, to move mountains or anything like that. I just think that Saints fans need to give this coach some time. Now, understand that they have salary cap issues, understand that they got roster issues, and, it's going to take maybe, a year or two in order for the Saints to find their footing. And I just hope that Saints fans give him that grace in that regard. I like the fact that Mickey Loomis said that he was going to allow Kellen Moore to be able to select his coaching staff and be able to determine what they're going to do with their roster, what guys are going to stay, what guys are going to leave, what do the Saints need to do in order for them to improve. They're allowing him to be able to do things the way that he wants them to be done. So, congratulations to Kellen Moore. Congratulations to the New Orleans Saints. I know that they were the last team to select a head coach, but it's better late than never. And once again, if Kellen Moore can find success in New Orleans, nobody would care how long the head coaching search took. As a matter of fact, if he ends up winning, I guarantee if you ask somebody around this time next year, how long did it take? They probably wouldn't even be able to tell you. So I just think that people just need to look at this thing as a turning of the page. You should look at it like the Saints are doing something different and trying to change the culture and maybe get back to a winning culture with a new coach, with a new philosophy and a new way of looking at things. So let's see what this is going to be like. I'm pretty sure a press conference will be coming really, really soon. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Kellen Moore has to say, as well as some of the decisions that he needs to make. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and read some of your comments, and we'll go ahead and we'll go from there. Says, I don't care if he was the first or last choice as long as he is the best choice. Yeah, that is true. It says, rumor has it that Kellen Moore is hiring Paxton to be the youngest quality control coach. Look, man, I don't know, man. Maybe one day my boy might end up, doing something like that. But right now, look, we just trying to run up the field, okay? My boy think he Reggie Bush, you know what I'm saying? Like he running backwards around this thing. he running backwards, man. I'm trying to get him to run up the field, man, straight ahead. So hopefully, we'll be able to see that this Saturday at his next game. Let's see. I heard Kellen Moore is bringing TJ on as his assistant head podcaster. Well, look, I'm open for business. All right, if they want me to cover the Saints during the podcast, I'll be glad to do so. Kellen Moore is a good mind, and he'll bring the old school run the ball mentality. I don't know if he's gonna bring that or not. I know he's he's known for like being a kind of a pass happy coach. I just think that he's gonna go with what works. If that means that running the football will work, I think he's going to go with it. I think if they're a much better passing team than running team, he's probably going to roll with that. Chemo says, make sure y'all smash that like button. yeah, man, if you like the State of the Saints podcast, please hit the like button. Let's see. How many years is the contract for Kellen Moore being a head coach with the New Orleans Saints? I don't know. I'm pretty sure they probably gave him like 3 to 4 years or something like that. We have to be patient. Who that's? Yeah, you just got to be patient with it, man. You got to be patient, with the this whole process. You got to just be patient with that, man. Let's see. Chemo says, "Oh, I just noticed TJ demoted me. What did I do?" Nothing, man. Look, somebody actually been messing with my account. You know what I'm saying? So look, I had to go off in that joint, and I changed some things around, man. So unfortunately, you know what I'm saying, I had to basically, because I mean, I don't know, man. When I went up in there, you know what I'm saying, to trying to look and see what was going on, it was a lot of things, you know what I'm saying. You can tell that somebody was actually messing with it. I don't know, you know what I'm saying. So that kind of made me nervous. So I had to kind of edit some things out. I'll you know what I'm saying, make sure that I put people back, you know what I'm saying, into those particular roles. But yeah, man, I went into, you know what I'm saying, I went into like my settings, and I mean, things was like all wrong, and I see like things that I know for a fact that I didn't edit, and that just kind of made me nervous, man. So I had to reset some things, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to the settings. So I'll make sure that I put people back, you know what I'm saying, like when, a little bit later. But yeah, man, I don't know what the heck going on with that. That just kind of made me nervous. Like I was actually looking to be able to, look at, some description stuff, and I was like, man, I didn't write this. It's like it was like an older episode, and it was like I was responding to people, and I know for a fact that I didn't respond. So I'm like, I don't know if somebody got access to it or what, but it just kind of made me nervous. So my bad. But yeah, man, it just kind of made me nervous. But I'll add people back at a later date. All right. Says, what's happening, TJ? What's happening, y'all? Driving to work, but I'm listening. T Dirty, I appreciate that. Thank you for that. Says, I feel good about the hire. If they give him control, I think Moore can cook something up. Yeah, I mean, I'm just willing to give it a shot. It's something different. And I think that's what Saints fans have been clamoring for, something different, something that they're not used to seeing. So, you know, let's see where this goes. Let's see where this goes. I wish Rizzy got the position on more staff. He deserves it. Yeah, but I think you'll find yourself being in a little bit of a rift there. You got a guy who was the interim coach. I mean, I would feel some type of way. Like I'm good enough to be your special teams coach, but I'm not good enough to be your head coach. I would feel some type of way. So sometimes you got to take the good with the bad, man. And it's unfortunate that you're going to lose Darren Rizzi in the process. He's a really good special teams coach, but you got to let him go, man. I mean, and then that wouldn't be very helpful to Kellen Moore, because you got guys that probably are in favor of Darren Rizzi being a head coach. We know that Alvin Kamara, has had some comments about that, and other players, they'll probably feel like they can go to Darren Rizzi or something like that over Kellen Moore. So you don't want that type of environment, man. Because y'all stole Chauncey and Bond from us. But they didn't steal anything. That was just bad decisions by the Saints. They allowed them to leave up out of the door. Email, wasn't me going off on you, just the situation. I'm not even sure what you're talking about, Josh. If you send me an email, I'll make sure I check it out. Let's see. I wish we got Fangio. Yeah, you ain't getting no Vic Fangio, man. You ain't getting no Vic. Yo, Wazan and who that's? Yeah, you're not getting no Vic Fangio after that defensive performance. You ain't getting, you are not getting Vic Fangio. He's not going anywhere. TJ, do you think he drafts a quarterback? That's a good question. And it's been a question I've been thinking about since I've heard the news about him getting hired. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me at all. But I think that he would probably give us Spencer Rattler an opportunity, especially like if he sees him, like sees him and sees what he does. Maybe he'll give him opportunity. But This might be that year, man, where they just allow Spencer Rattler to get that opportunity and see what he does. And, if it doesn't work out, then they'll probably draft a quarterback next year. Unless the Saints are going to like try to be aggressive and move up to try to get one of them quarterbacks, which I wouldn't think is a good idea. Question, TJ, what it is? Any thoughts who Kellen Moore will hire as his staff? You see anyone with the Saints coaching staff being retained or forced upon Coach Moore? No, I don't see anybody forced on him. I think that they're going to allow him to make his own decisions. I mean, a lot of the coaches are already gone already. Joe Woods gone. Running backs coach gone. Defensive line coach gone. Man, these dudes already done left. So I'm pretty sure that he's going to revamp his staff and according to what he feels they need to be. I definitely feel like he's going to bring his buddy Nussmeier with him. The former Saints quarterback back in the day. I know he's been on Kellen Moore's staff quite often. Wouldn't surprise me if Brandon Staley is the defensive coordinator. Back in 2020, if I'm not mistaken, he had the Rams as the number one defense in football, so that's a plus. And he probably brings some other guys along with him. I've been hearing rumors about Dan Orlovsky possibly being on his coaching staff in some capacity. So I'm pretty sure he's going to fill in with some good pieces. The good thing about it is that all the head coaching hires have been filled and guys have been working on their coaching staff already. So people that are out here on the street, that gives Kellen Moore like an idea about who he can select. So, that's a plus. I know it took long, but at least like, okay, this guy is out here, who's available because you don't have anybody to compete with at this point. So we'll see, man. But I don't think that they'll intervene and stop him from making any decisions. The more out with the old and in with the new, the better, because what we had wasn't working. Yeah, man, you got to try something different if it ain't working. If it ain't, if they got that saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But when it's broke, you got to fix it. Got to fix it, man. And the New Orleans Saints need to fix this. And, like I said, it's something different. And I think that as a Saints fan, you should be appreciative of that. At least they trying to do something different. Like our biggest issue was that they were sticking to the same old status quo. And the status quo got them in that position. So something different type of vibe, different type of culture. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but it's a start. Trade up to get Cam Ward. Look, I'm not in favor of them trading up for anybody fire, because it's not the fact that I don't think that Cam Ward is talented. I just feel like the way that the Saints draft structure has been, I think that you look at the salary cap. I think that you look at some of these other things going on. You don't want to just go out here and just be giving away draft picks. In fact, I think you need to find ways to be able to acquire more draft picks. So I think that you can get a really good player at 9. May not be a quarterback, but it may be a really good dominant player that might end up being on your team for the next 6 to 8 years. So no need for you to be that aggressive. I just think that the Saints need to approach 2025 as a year to rebuild. See what you have on your roster once you trim the fat a little bit. And if it doesn't work out, if you don't see the players living up to the hype of the potential, well, it's time to move on, plain and simple. And then, you'll probably be picking in the top 5, like I mentioned before, and you'll be able to draft a quarterback of the future. It's sink or swim at this point. There's no time to beat around the bush, no time for you to just sit up here and be, okay, we close. You're not, okay? Come to grips with what you are and who you are, and just go from there. So that's what I feel. Farouk, who that TJ? Am I wrong for thinking playoffs are the first pick in 2026? They better clean up the cap, though. Well, next year it will be a much better cap situation. And if they don't make the playoffs, I don't think Saints fans will be shocked. Like, everybody kind of knows that this team is going through a rebuilding process. I just think that I just think that Saints fans just want to see something different, like maybe some competitive football, maybe winning a game against a team that you had no business beating, something like that. I think that that'll be a way to pacify the Saints fans, logical Saints fans, all right? Because you got Saints fans out here right now still being negative when they've been lobbying the entire time about, man, the Saints need to get younger. You see Sean McVay, you see Matt LaFleur, that's the new wave going on. Now the Saints got that. Well, he 36, but he ain't the coach they wanted. Like, bro, come on, man. Come on, man. Like at this point, like if you thinking like that, you just trying to find ways to be upset. You just trying to be mad. You know what I'm saying? You just trying to be disappointed. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, like you got to be able to find, you know what I'm saying? You just got to be able to have some patience. Like, you know what's going on. Let's see. TJ, damn, you disagree with every comment I'm posting. I'm talking hypothetical off of what folks are saying in the chat. I don't know if I disagree with everything that you say. And I don't even think I disagree with what you said before. I'm like, all I'm saying is, man, like, I don't know, man. Like sometimes, we not always gonna be the same way. I'm sorry. I can't, you don't think like me and I don't think like you. But the best thing about it, my friend, is, we all are different. You know what I'm saying? And that's okay. You know what I'm saying? That's okay, man. Like, I'm pretty sure that there's gonna be plenty of things that we agree on, but I mean, we just different people. But I don't want to, I don't want to like make you feel bad about it, man. Like, you're entitled to your opinion. Like, it's not, I don't want you to feel like I'm, disrespecting your point of view. I value your point of view, but I mean, we're different. We're different when it comes to certain situations. Like, man, you don't want an amen corner, do you? Like, I don't want one. So I'm actually glad that you actually, challenge me in certain ways. You know what I'm saying? And your way of thinking. So I value that, man. It's not, I'm not trying to like criticize you or anything like that. And if you feel that way, I do apologize. But sometimes, like, people are just going to disagree. I mean, but would you want, would you want to be around somebody that you always agree with all the time? That wouldn't be very, very exciting. You want people to be able to challenge you sometimes and give you some food for thought. Like, the things that you say is not like I just dismiss them and don't take them into consideration. It's just sometimes, you might have a comment or something like that. And, maybe I feel a little bit different about it. But, I mean, we're just different people, and we're all different people. I hope Genty and I guess you talk about McMillan are available at 9. If so, we can trade back and accumulate more picks this draft and the next. Yeah. I think that Ashton Genty might be there, but McMillan, that's a tall ask right there. That's a tall ask, man. I don't think that dude's gonna be there, to be quite honest with you. We not always going to agree on everything. I was taught to agree to disagree. Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that people have different opinions. I like that. I like the fact that we can actually say how we feel and have true discourse here on the show. I mean, that's the best part of being here on the State of the Saints podcast, that we all, have different opinions and views. And, there are times where we all can, kind of agree with the same type of things, but also, I like the fact that people put things on my mind, and, and there have been a lot of cases where people will have like certain opinions that are different from mine, and they'll make valid points. And I'm like, yeah, I ain't never thought of it like that. So I don't do anything personal. You know what I'm saying? I don't try to make anybody feel bad. And if I do, like I said, I apologize, because that's never my intent. My intent is never to sound like I'm just the smartest person in the room. I think people sometimes like, get things kind of misconstrued sometimes, because, I'm the person with the microphone, and then, it's just me in here, and, I'm reading from comments here. So people like, oh man, he just think he know what he's talking about. Well, not really. Like, I'm just the person with the microphone. So, but we all have our feelings and our views about certain things. And, I value everybody's opinion. I'm excited to close the book on the last 20 years Take the good with the bad because it may get rocky. Jerry saying, Chemo, are you good? Yeah, shouts out to Jerry in here. Says Saints should not draft quarterback this year. Wait next year if Rattler doesn't pan out. I feel the same way because I mean you really don't know what you have in Spencer Rattler. I don't think he got like a fair assessment. There was some things you can evaluate him on, but I don't think you got a full sample size of what he can possibly be. I like to see what he can do with 1 year under his belt. All right, so let's see. We are not going after Rodgers. We are staying young. Yeah, I think that would be a waste of time. I think that would be a waste of time if you're just going after Aaron Rodgers. Like if you're gonna turn the page, turn the page. We need a top 10 lineman and put with Fuaga and Penning and McCoy. That's a solid O-line on paper. Yeah, I think they do need to fix the offensive line. I think they need to improve that. I think that if you're going to go with Spencer Rattler, even if you decide that you want to keep Derek Carr for at least 1 more year, I think you need to put an emphasis on the run. You put an emphasis on the run, I think that will be able to help out the quarterback position. Barb, I already know your reaction to this, but I'm going to ask anyway, what do you think of bringing Rodgers in for a year while Rattler develops? And I don't think they just need to go that route, I think that if you're gonna turn the page, turn the page. I think that by getting Aaron Rodgers, I think that's kind of like you still on that we close type stuff, and no need for you to be sitting out here, spending money that you don't need to spend. I mean, see what you got with Rattler. TJ, do you think that Coach Kellen has to have a winning season to win over the fan base? Do I need to be patient with him because I'm ready to win now? Well, Linda, look, I think that he needs the patience of the Who Dat Nation. I do. I understand how you feel, but we also have to understand that he has come into a bad situation. The Saints got a lot of unanswered questions that he needs to figure out answers to. And I just think that it's completely unfair if we're judging this guy, based on this performance in 2025. To me, if he goes out here and the Saints look much better than we all anticipate, then I think that we can concede that they got the right guy. But if he doesn't, it's a matter of like how are they losing? Are there signs of getting better? Do you see, some positive things happening? I think that's the way that you got to look at it. Like it can't go just by wins and losses this season to me. I just think that you have to look at, okay, what is he bringing to the table that's different that we can actually build on that we haven't over the last couple of years? And I think you need to evaluate it that way. If you do, then I feel like you'll be much happier and much more satisfied with the results. Like I don't think that you need to be upset, every time the Saints lose because, like I said, they're trying to figure this thing out. Let's see. I'm all for the culture. 26. Sean Payton is my guy, favorite coach, but it's time to move on from this era culture. 26 vision. 26 start fresh outside the building. So I'm loving it. Yeah, man, you got to move on. You got to just trust evolution or whatever like that. You know what I'm saying? You gotta trust that that you're making the right decision. And we'll see. We'll see, man. Loomis absolutely refuses to go full rebuild. Barb. Well, I mean, to me, this is the start of a rebuild, like by getting this coach up in here that doesn't have any ties to Sean Payton. So I think that that's the start of a rebuild because I don't think that Kellen Moore is going to think like Sean Payton. And, I think that he might bring something that's just completely different. Fixing the O-line would make Carr serviceable. He's decent when he isn't under pressure, but I still go with Rattler. Well, my question is, like, by getting Derek Carr, like, what are you actually doing? Like, why are you bringing Derek Carr back? Like, you're not a contender. I just think that you have to embrace this rebuild process, man. Like, you have to look in the mirror and see who you really are. You know, like as of right now, like you may not feel that way, but this is what you are. Like, you ever stepped on a scale and looked at him like, man, I didn't think I was this big. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think I was this small. You know what I'm saying? It's, you know, like, man, you gotta, you know, you can't pretend like this stuff is going on. Like, you can pretend like, but this is the reality. This is the reality. Like, you can pretend that you close, but it sounds like you gaslighting the fan base. It ain't like you gaslighting your organization, because nobody believes you. Like, no real, true, logical Saint fan really believe that this team is close. Nobody. So I just think they need to embrace that. If you embrace it, I think that you'll, you know, the sooner you'll be able to turn this thing around. I just think that it's asinine for you to just sit around and pretend like you better than what you actually are, when the numbers, the seasons past over the last couple of years don't resemble that. The only one that's saying that is you. I wonder how Mr. Check the Tape feel now that no coach want to hitch their name to him. This should be a wake-up call for him. I look. I was looking at a tweet from Dan Orlovsky. He was like, he was proud of his buddy, his former teammate Kellen Moore. Now go out there and get your quarterback. I mean, why would you say that, right? You know, like, why would you say that if you know, felt like the Saints had the right quarterback? And everybody that talks about Derek Carr, they don't talk about like the Saints bringing him back. They talk about, oh, the Saints need to trade him, or maybe maybe a team, you know what I'm saying, I want to pick them up because, you know, the draft isn't really top heavy when it comes to quarterbacks, stuff like that. Like, nobody believes in Derek Carr, man. And I just feel like even some of the good graces that he had with some Saints fans kind of went out the window when they didn't see him during Super Bowl week. I don't think that was a good look. I don't know what was going on personally. I don't know why he wasn't there. But all I know is, if you call yourself the face of the franchise quarterback, you should be in attendance somewhere. You should have showed up at least one or 2 days on Radio Row. But that to me, you know, speaks volumes about him. And this is what I've been saying for quite some time. Like, this is the reason why people don't follow him, because it just seems like he tries to fake the funk, so to speak. Like, he tries to say the right things and do the right things to try to be a people pleaser, but he really don't want to do those things. They're not really coming from a true, genuine place. It's coming from, even if it is coming from a true, genuine place. I don't know this man hard, but even if it is coming from a true, genuine place, it don't seem like it. And you know, when you see and hear about situations like, oh, he didn't like the fact that the Raiders benched him, so he went home, and you know, now it seems like, oh, he's not really a fan favorite, or fans don't really care for him that much, or you know, so I'm just gonna go home. Like, they don't like me anyway. So it can be perceived that way. So I don't know, man. I ain't never seen like somebody that just, you know, fans just ain't rocking with like this. Like, they just don't rock with them. Like, I remember, like, I was down in New Orleans during like week 1 for the Carolina Panthers game, and I remember going into Dick's Sporting Goods, and I'm telling you, no lies, they had jerseys all at the front. They had Chris Olave jersey, barely a few jerseys left. They had Shaheed jerseys, one was left. They had one real small Kamara jersey and a whole rack of Derek Carr jerseys, like a whole rack full of them joints. And they had this gentleman who was behind me in line, and he was like, man, nobody want this, man. Nobody want this dude right here. Like, man, they need to put that other dude in. Dude, you know, when everybody was talking about Spencer Rattler. That's what I'm saying. Like, like, he has never really, it's kind of the same situation with Dennis Allen. Like, Dennis Allen never really ingratiated himself into New Orleans culture. He never really felt like he never really felt like the Saints fans coach. And I just hope that Kellen Moore understands that it's more than just being a New Orleans Saints coach. Like, you got to be able to ingratiate yourself into the community. I know some people kind of scoffed at the imagery during the Super Bowl, where they had the special vigil for the victims that lost their lives on Bourbon Street. And you see Tom Brady in the middle, being a narrator. Next to him is Saints owner Gail Benson, and next to her is Sean Payton. But there's a reason why Sean Payton can walk down on Bourbon Street next to Gail Benson, and nobody looks at it like, oh man, that's crazy. Even though he's the head coach of the Denver Broncos, it's because no matter how you may feel about Sean Payton is solidified in New Orleans. When he retires officially, there will be a statue outside of the Superdome of Sean Payton. There will be a street one day named after Sean Payton, like it or not, because he ingratiated himself into the community. The feeling that you have inside of you and the expectation that you have for this team was manufactured and built by Sean Payton, whether you like him or not. And some of my OG Saints fans know what I'm talking about, because the energy was not the same. It was not the same growing up as a kid, 80s, 90s. It was not. But you have to ingratiate yourself into the culture. New Orleans people, Saints fans everywhere, they can smell a phony a mile away. They can smell a phony a mile away, man. So I just think that he hasn't done himself any favors. He hasn't done himself any favors, man. So I don't think he can ever change it. Like, he would have, Derek Carr would have to win a Super Bowl for Saints fans to ingratiate him. I don't think a wild card playoff spot will do it. I don't think a divisional round playoffs run can do it. I don't. I just think that people are like done with him. I think they done with him. TJ is Taysom as our starting quarterback, a valuable option in more system. He is just like Hurts. I don't even know if Taysom Hill gonna be back with the Saints this season. I don't even know if they'll bring him back. I don't. I mean, look, I like these guys, man, but it's time for the Saints to really take a look at what they have, man, and be able to start this whole youth movement. And sometimes, it's about making tough decisions that Saints fans don't want to see the team make. And he may be back, but is it for as much as we love Taysom Hill, is Taysom Hill, and I don't know the answer to this, but is Taysom Hill the best option for the future of this team? You know what I'm saying? Is it worth it at the end of the day? I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know, because we don't know what Kellen Moore is going to bring to the table. But I do know, you're going to be upset about at least a few decisions that the Saints make. So I don't know, man. I just want this team to turn the page. We're going to turn the page, man. You can't have a sentimental value about players. And I'm not saying that that's what you're doing, Fire, but I think that, some Saints fans have this sentimental value towards players. And, you look at Taysom Hill and some of the good things that he did. You've seen him basically single-handedly beat the Cleveland Browns by himself. And you see those things and you're like, man, Taysom still got it. But if you can get something for Taysom Hill because he's so dynamic, and it can actually help you fix some of the issues that you have by maybe drafting a player that can be able to fix your defense or fix your offensive line. Sometimes you got to make those decisions, man. Nobody wanted to see Lattimore go, but you happy with that 3rd round pick though, right? So that's just the way that it goes. That's just the way it works sometimes. Let's see. I think Coach Payton's new wife wanted out of New Orleans, to be honest, but I could be wrong. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what his reasoning was behind that. Maybe he was just looking for a new challenge. And, it could be one of those situations where that there's only one way. In most coaching situations, there's only one way out, and that's with the fan base hating your freaking guts and wanting you to leave. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Most coaches, no matter how much they won, no matter how much success they had with that team, unless they retire, they lose that job. And fans, there's no love lost. So I guarantee you, he rather be the villain and leave a year too early than leave a year too late. When people like, I don't know if he's still the coach that we need, right? I'd rather you sit up here and be mad at me for leaving, but when I retire, like, man, he was the best coach I ever had. Like, that's the only thing that really makes us upset. Like, if Sean Payton was on TV right now, still on Fox, nobody would care. Like, nobody would be sitting up here criticizing this man or talking down about him. It's the fact that he's still coaching football. But at the same time, he left on a high note. He left with people missing him. Like, it's not a Dennis Allen situation where Dennis Allen, look, if he would continue to be the Saints defensive coordinator, he would have been, oh, man, DA, man, yeah, we got something there. Now he's the biggest villain. Why? Because he was the head coach and he was terrible at it. So it's best for you to leave a year too early than a year too late. I'm going to take a few more, then we can go ahead and get up out of here, folks. Says the website Saints Wire had the Saints cutting Cam after June 1st to get under the cap and trading Taysom after June 1st. Yeah, that's not bad scenarios right there. It's not bad at all. Let's talk more about Kellen Moore, not Sean Payton. Well, Everett, you know how I do it, man. I just answer the questions. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just go by what people ask me, and that's how we do it, man. Crimes, I love Lattimore, but it was time. He's damaged goods. Yeah, man. It was rough seeing my boy out there look like that. Inevitable. It was rough, bro. It was rough seeing my man look like that, man. But it just looked like it was the right decision. And as much as we criticize Mickey Loomis for the bad decisions he made, you got to say, man, based on what you saw, it seemed like it was a good decision. But man, Lattimore, my guy, it's kind of hard for me even to say that. I just hope Mickey and Ireland sit down and let Moore rebuild this roster and get a new coaching staff. Yeah, I don't think they're going to intervene with that. I think they're going to allow him to pick the coaches that he wants. And I think that I think they should. I think they need to step aside and allow this man to build a team the way that he wants to. That includes if he comes to the office and say, you know what, I was looking at this contract right here, and I feel like, maybe we can shop around or something like that, maybe get some draft cap, but I don't think you should be sitting up there, we got to look beyond the results, all that kind of nonsense. Let that man run the team the way that you feel like, the way he feels like it needs to be ran. A phony, thank you very much for the $2 says, I tried to move, but they smelled me a mile away. Yeah, man, you can smell a phony a mile away. You ain't lying about that. Man. Loomis is the issue. Payton left because of Loomis. I remember the no comment. Now we have 3 coaches that refuse an NFL head coaching job. It's because of Loomis. Loomis was a product of Brees and Payton. I think the further we get away from Sean Payton and Drew Brees, the more we realize that to be true. But look, he ain't going anywhere. Us arguing and going at it and saying all these things about him ain't gonna fix the situation. I just think that he just needs to get out of the way and allow this man to coach the team the way that he sees fit. I heard one of the stipulations for Kellen was getting rid of Carr, so it's not looking good for him. Well, look, if that's the case, then he already off to a good start in the eyes of many Saints fans. Because they feel like they should have did that last year. So he definitely would be off to a great start if that's the first line of business. Taysom Hill reminds me of an old school bruising fullback like Mike Allstott. He got almost as many snaps as Dunn for the Bucs. Yeah, Warwick Dunn. Yeah, Mike Allstott. Yeah, those were 2 like really good players for the Buccaneers back in the day. Mike Allstott, everybody, like, I don't care if you didn't like the Buccaneers, like you like the physicality that Mike ran with. And, Taysom Hill, like he's such a fan favorite, man, because he can do so many things. And he will be in the Saints Hall of Fame. But all things must come to an end, man. And especially like if you could actually, move on from him and get something in return, like you got to be able to turn the page. I mean, he will be missed because he can do a multifaceted things and it can confuse the heck out of a defense. But look, man, you got to get better. You got to get younger and you got to get faster. So it's going to mean some very tough decisions going to have to be made. People feel like the Saints fans are too tough on Carr, but imagine if he ends up in New York with the Giants or Jets and he struggles. Those fans and media would eat him alive. Yeah, Brandon, look, I think that some people say that he's like Saints fans are tough on him, but I think a lot of that he brought on himself. Like, first off, look, I know my folk, bro. I know my people. I know my people. This ain't something that somebody told me. This ain't nothing that I'm speculating. I'm from New Orleans, born and raised there. I know how people's minds work. The moment in that Jacksonville Jaguars game when he started criticizing Chris Olave and pointing up the field and being upset with him and stuff like that, that's the moment, in my opinion, that Saints fans were like, nah, this ain't our guy. Why? Because here's the thing. You got the Florida Lee on your helmet. You got the black and gold on, but you ain't our guy yet, right? You basically, you was adopted into this family. Chris Olave, he was born into this family. Like that, Chris Olave is our guy. You know what I'm saying? He was drafted by the Saints. He was the same first round pick. So that's the way they feel about it. Saints fans kind of looking at you sideways like, man, I don't know what this dude gonna do. Let's see. And you going out there, on some Debo stuff, you know what I'm saying, trying to play that man like that in front of a nationally televised audience, it rubbed people the wrong way. It rubbed them the wrong way. And I've been telling y'all this for I don't know how long. New Orleans is a city that if you do something that shows your this loyalty to the city, it's going to be hard for you to get back in their good graces. It just is. Because if you do something that's heroic, you do something that's memorable, they'll always remember you for it. They'll name a sandwich after you. They'll name a sandwich after that moment. Like that's just what it is. They got a statue of Steve Gleason block punt. People gonna always remember that. Even if they didn't make a statue that was erected outside of the Superdome, they still would have remembered Steve Gleason to this day. That's just the way that it goes, man. Like you become almost like like a member, like royalty. Like if you do something, that shows that you are loyal to the city. Teddy Bridgewater. I mean, he was here for what, a cup of coffee? But this man riding around on a bike through New Orleans, finding pickup football games in the night ward. You know what I'm saying? Like, he ain't up there, uptown around the Garden District or nothing like that. No disrespect to people that's from that area. But, I mean, y'all know what it is, man. That man out there in the trenches. But for him to go out there, that shows like, oh, okay, he a man of the people. Cam Jordan going out here, investing his time every Tuesday to these schools throughout Orleans Parish. Like, people remember that type of stuff. And I already told you, man, like the dude comes off, and I don't know if this is the case or not, but he comes off as someone that's just disingenuous and just doing things just for the simple fact of, I just want to show people that I'm a good person. And like I said, you may be a good person, but it doesn't, you can't blame teammates, especially like when you, and also what didn't help. And then I'll go back to the comments. What also didn't help was you had the standard, the epitome of what the quarterback position needed to be in a guy that came before you. Drew Brees, there were times Drew Brees threw 350 yards and 4 touchdowns, no picks, and they lose a football game because the defense gave up a big play. And this man to go to the podium knowing good and well it ain't his fault. and say, I need to play better. But when you see stuff like that and you see another guy like deflected and we running wrong routes and all that kind of stuff, no, you don't say that stuff to the general public. You get behind the scenes and then you talk about it. But in a general public, you like, man, I got to get better. It's on me. That's what you do. Like I said, that moment when he made that gesture to Chris Olave was the moment that Saints fans were like, no, this ain't our guy. And I think he has been trying to dig himself out of that hole since it happened, and it ain't happening. It ain't happening. So I just think that was the start of it. I mean, I could be wrong. Some people probably think about, well, it was this game or, it was that game. But I feel like that was the moment where Saints fans was like, man, we done. And then also the whole going back and forth with Eric McCoy. I mean, so that's what I'm saying. I'm hearing some fans are upset Derek Carr didn't attend any functions for the Super Bowl and NOLA. I think it's best he didn't attend any at all. I disagree. I disagree with that. I think that was one of the main reasons why they were upset that they didn't see him. I think that at least, if he wasn't like, favorable to them, at least they're like, well, at least he showed up. But for you not to come at all, no show at all, and you're supposed to be the franchise quarterback, like that's not a good thing. I mean, maybe he was told something behind the scenes that he didn't like. And maybe that's the reason why he decided to stay at Fresno. I don't know. I'll take Jameis or Josh Dobbs, draft Genty with the first pick. I mean, I've been hearing Aston Genty name come out quite often now. I'm not objective to that. I mean, anything other than kicker and punter. I mean, why would you be objective? The Saints have so many holes that they need to fill. But, if you want to put Aston Genty alongside, Alvin Kamara, I don't have an issue with that. I do feel like, you have more important things to kind of focus on. I mean, you need pass rush, defensive linemen. You need somebody to be able to stop the run. You need a little bit more help in the secondary. You don't know what's going to happen with Paulson and Debo. You need a wide receiver, or maybe a big body wide receiver that can go alongside Olave and Shaheed. So, I mean, I could think of other positions that are a little bit more important than drafting Aston Genty, but if they did, I mean, I wouldn't be upset about it. I don't think Saints fans would be upset about it. I would like Moore to bring over Philly D-line coach as the DC because we need to get this D-line beefed up. Well, respect, they might bring in Brandon Staley. Brandon Staley, bad head coach, good coordinator, kind of a Dennis Allen type guy. That's really good as a coordinator, bad as a head coach, and it happens, man. But if they can get Brandon Staley, I think Brandon Staley will have the defense looking better. I trust him in that capacity. All the past and present quarterbacks was there, and for the current quarterback not to be there is not a good look, period. I agree. Wasn't a good look at all. Don't know why Raider fans are so concerned about Carr all of a sudden when a couple of years ago they were happy to see him leave. It's probably because they're going through their quarterback issues right now. And it's much worse now than it was with Carr. So maybe that's what it is. And then you have some Carr supporters that felt like he should have never been cut in the first place, or, let go in the first place. So you got that. ACAM says, I was done with Carr when I seen how DA treated Jameis like dirt and he played better than Carr, and then they rolled the red carpet out for this bum. There's a few things that kind of made me look at Derek Carr a little bit different. It's not even because of the whole Chris Olave gesture or the Eric McCoy, situation exchange that I was referring to. This is what, kind of made me look at this guy sideways and kind of question him, as the right quarterback. It was pretty obvious that in 2023, when Derek Carr was playing quarterback for the Saints, that he was seriously injured. So injured, in fact, that he should have sat down a couple of games. And the only reason why he didn't do that was because he understood the popularity of Jameis Winston as the backup. And I think a part of him felt if Jameis Winston goes out there and he plays well, or he puts up numbers or the offense looks more explosive, then he's going to be nervous and feel like, oh, my job is in jeopardy. Because think about this. The next season in 2024, he had injuries that, quite honestly, he shouldn't have played. Like, he shouldn't have played in. But, you know what I'm saying? And he didn't. You know, like he didn't. He sat down. Why? Because he didn't look at Jake Hayner as a threat. He didn't look at Spencer Rattler as a threat. So to me, I feel like some people look at, oh, he's showing a warrior spirit, but yeah, that may be looked at as a warrior spirit, but you also know what your body can and cannot do. And I felt like he knew that he wasn't going to be able to perform or do certain things as the quarterback, but he was so concerned about the popularity of Jameis Winston. And look, you can have your opinions about Jameis. You can say, you know, is he a starting quarterback or not, or whatever. But let's just be honest about this. If the New Orleans Saints didn't feel like Jameis Winston was a threat to Derek Carr, he still would have been playing as the backup quarterback for the New Orleans Saints in 2024. His popularity and the way that Saints fans looked at him was one of the main reasons why they decided to move on from him. That's just my opinion. And I just think that, you know, when you start looking at guys and you think about looking over your shoulder and you go out there and making decisions that's hurting the team because you're not physically able to perform at a high level, I just feel like that's being selfish. I do. And I also think that's you know, that's insecurity. Like, that makes you insecure, in my opinion, because if I'm hurt, and let's just say I'm the starting wide receiver of a team and I'm hurt, and let's just say they got somebody else that's behind me and they good, but I'm still like, I'm gonna get myself better and I'm gonna go back out here and y'all gonna see the dog that I am. That's where I felt for the first time that maybe the Saints made a mistake at signing him. Like that's what it was for me. Because he even said it at the end of the season. Like, I know y'all remember, like, they had that Mardi Gras float that, you know, they had of him. He was like looking like a zombie and he was all broken up and stuff like that. And you respond, he was like, well, he said, that's the way I felt the majority of the season. If you felt like that the majority of the season, when you know that you had concussions and, you know what I'm saying, and shoulder injuries and stuff like that, you knew it was affecting you being able to throw the ball down the field and being able to connect with your players, you should have sat. But you didn't, you know, because like I said, you looked at Jameis Winston as a threat and you seen the popularity that he had. So I just think that was, to me, that was the moment where I just felt like maybe the New Orleans Saints didn't make the right decision. But that was just my personal assessment. But my final thoughts before we get up out of here, folks. Kellen Moore has been hired by the New Orleans Saints to be the head coach. Congratulations to him, 36-year-old head coach. And, you know, I want to see what Kellen Moore can bring to the table. We will find out the decisions that he will make as far as his coaching staff and what he's going to do with some of these players coming up really, really soon. And we'll be here on the State of the Saints podcast to give it to you. I appreciate everybody that came over to the NFC South Roundtable. We discussed a little bit of the Saints offseason. I talked a little bit about Kellen Moore. That's available right now, youtube.com. Search NFC South Roundtable. Also, Saints Talk with Timothy J. Jones. We did a special episode this past Monday or yesterday, if you're actually watching this live. I talked a little bit about, you know, Kellen Moore and some of the offseason plans for the New Orleans Saints. So that's available on Bleacher Report. And also, you can follow me on X at TJAY Jones 8. And you can also follow me on Blue Sky under that same username as well, TJAY Jones 8. Hope everybody has a good morning, noon, night, whenever you're checking out this podcast. And like always, all I got to say is, who dat?
Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast Please subscribe to our channel.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. There's all dog around this mug. I'm good.